This episode is brought to you by Bellator's Publishing, bringing stories to the world that last forever.
Hello and welcome to Faithfully Fantasy,
The husband and wife podcast talking all things Brimstone.
I'm JC.
And I'm Sean.
And today we'll be summing up our final thoughts and feelings about Brimstone and looking at our initial theories for how the story could unfold. And just a heads up, we might use strong language and explore adult themes.
This episode will obviously contain spoilers from Quicksilver, Brimstone, the Kingfisher POV chapters on Callie Hart's website, and snippets of information we've had from Callie Hart herself.
And before we start, a quick reminder, if you love our content and want even more, plus early access to episodes, monthly bonus content, and completely ad-free experience, you can become one of our supporters. You can try it for free now and cancel anytime. For the best deal, visit faithfullyfantasy.com or just subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts for instant access. Don't miss out and unlock the extra content waiting for you.
Also, if you've enjoyed this series, please take a second to rate us wherever you're listening. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all of it. It helps more fantasy lovers find us, and it's one of the easiest ways to support what we do. A quick tap and you've really made our day.
So, without further ado, let's get into it.
So, now you've had a week-ish, bit more, to get to grips with that ending.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready to give your review of Brimstone?
Yes, so something that I was saying in the previous episode, that I really love the book. So I will totally recommend it to somebody else that, yes, you need to read it. It's really good. However, I'm going to be able to give it a 5-star for a couple of reasons. First one, the editing errors, that even when it's not Callie's hard power, it was just maybe an accident. Just send one of the beta copies to print to everyone.
I feel like that's what happened, but yeah, maybe. But because everybody says, oh, it's editing, the editors let her down, but you'd think that some of that stuff would have been sorted, like, by the author.
Yes, so that is one of the problems that I have. Me personally, as a writer, I want to make sure that the book, the manuscript that I have, is basically going to be ready to publish. So I'm reading from top to bottom, like constantly, to make sure that everything is good. There's no plot holes. I'm trying to catch as many like grammar mistakes as many as I can, that kind of stuff. But this one, it feels maybe there was like some version that we put in together. Then maybe in the first version it was making sense, but then the second one it didn't. And then all got mixed up. And then you don't know if, okay, this should be like this because it's part of the plot. And maybe when right now it doesn't make sense, it will in the next book.
Maybe
or it's an editing error. So, because, there was some problems there. There was editing errors, and that is no way to deny it, because I think the more clear one is a part when Lawrence is training with Sarah's, and Carrion is dead, when we know the Carrion is in Salvaren with Fisher. So that is a clear like editing error. There's a couple of mistakes like that, but not as clear to say that's an editing error. It's just things that make you think, is that an editing error, or is that part of the plot?
Like a few lies from Faye.
Yes.
Where they shouldn't be able to lie. Are they lies? Maybe not. Maybe we find out in the next book. It's not clear. But normally we would be like, there's definitely a reason for this. And we wouldn't have any doubt that it could be an editing error when actually,
Yes. So that's one of the reasons that I can't give it 5 stars, because it didn't like completely allow me to be like immersed in the story. The other part is that there's so many changes that I was so confused reading, like the vampires. They were such like massive part of the plot, and then in just in one chapter, they're all gone. And I was like,
but are they? We don't know if they are.
I don't know. It was just, okay, now what's going to happen here? I was completely confused and don't know. Like I was thinking they were going to like a path, and that path completely changed, and I was like, okay, I have no idea where we're going now. So I wasn't like sure I'm gonna like it when we go to the end of this path or what's going to happen. So for this reason, I think I will give it 4 stars.
Wow, 4 stars.
It's still good rating, I think. If you're going like for Goodreads or Amazon reviews,
that's a really good rating.
Yeah. So it's really good. I really enjoy like the part when there was no mistakes, no issue, no confusion. I really enjoy that part, and I really want to know what's going to happen next, what's next. So the part that I enjoy, I really enjoy.
Yeah.
But not everything was like that.
That's really good. I'm glad you gave it 4, because I've been like going between like 3.5, 4, 3.75, 3.5, 4, and I don't. Last time somebody asked me, I gave it a 4, but I can't commit to that. So I'm going to go with 3.75. And I don't like the star rating system because it's so difficult to like know what somebody, how somebody rates things. But I've said this before, I love the characters, I love the world, I love the magic. I didn't want to leave Avelia. I wasn't ready for it to end. And it was already quite a long book. So it could have been double, and I still would have been like just happy being in Avelia. I don't want to go into too much of the same things that you said, but I did feel that some of the things that I struggled with were that Ceres just seemed to have an answer to everything. Her magic just seemed to be able to do everything. This sounds like a crazy thing to complain about, but nobody died. And like, no offense to Helena, but I feel like it should have been Helena in this one, because you lose your healer, automatically that ups the stakes. But then even in this one, you'd be like, well, Ceres is going to be able to heal anyone anyway. You just don't feel like that there's no kind of danger.
Yes.
You don't ever worry that people aren't going to be okay. So I'm going to have, like, people can hate me for this, but I'm going to start like Lorith probably needs to die in the next book campaign. Somebody like that, not Ren. I do want to make a correction, because I felt in last week's episode, and I think I've said this a few times, that Ceres just felt really rude in places. I re-listened to Quicksilver and that is a very solid character point. That hasn't changed. She says several times in the beginning of Quicksilver that she gets mouthy when she's nervous, and she just becomes a really rude person when she's nervous or scared. And actually, if you think about the times where she was really rude, she was mostly talking to the Hazrax. The Hazrax is terrifying. And I thought, actually, that's a really solid character, like, consistency. So I'm going to retract that comment. And I do feel like Ceres, while she's not very good at making deals, she's at reading the fine print, I do think she has been a consistent character. Likewise with Kingfisher, there was a big risk that going from the first book, when they're already mated, can you still keep the spark? And I think Callie Hart did that really well. I think the fact that Kingfisher and Carrion were in Silfarin for quite a big chunk, I loved that. I thought that was really good. Then my only other thing to say would be that I feel like we went on a few wild goose chases, and that's why I'm kind of struggling with upping it to the 4 stars. I might even give it like 3.9 or something, just because I feel like the Zilvarin chapters, while I loved them, the point of that was to get Carrion and Kingfisher to be bros.
Yeah.
The point of it wasn't to get the silver, because what did they do with the silver? Where did it go? Yeah,
they bring all the silver, next day all the vampires die.
Yeah.
Something like this.
And like one you pulled out before, Onyx, right at the beginning, ran across Omnimerin to Sanas Roth. And then it got healed. Onyx got healed, and then nothing came of that. Why did it come? And there's lots of things that maybe we get lots of answers in the third one, and I am still really hopeful. And maybe when we get the third one, I will reread Brimstone and I'll be like, yeah. Now it'll be like maybe a 4.5 stars or something.
Yeah.
There is something I wanted to read. One of our listeners, Amy, and Amy is actually from my book club. And she helped me get through Brimstone because I was like, obviously so much slower reading than a few of the other girls that we're reading along with. And I couldn't go on, and she kind of helped me like not get completely stressed that I wasn't able to finish the book. And her review is just so good, and I wanted to read it out. So thanks, Amy. Hi, Amy. So she gave it 4 stars. She really wanted to give it 5, and I'm going to read it from verbatim of how she wrote it now. The book has a lot of clear parallels to other fantasy series, especially Sarah J. Maas, but it's still beautifully written with plenty of original moments. I loved so many of the characters, though I wish Ceres had more development and stronger found family interactions. Onyx and Archer were standouts, obviously. Part of me thinks their deaths would have been impactful if they'd stayed dead, but I'm ultimately glad they survived. The vampires just died. All of that just for them to cease to exist. Then Ren vanished for a while, but was completely fine. Lane didn't wake up. As usual, Carrion and his plants and the Hazraks stole the show. Some chapters left me thinking, what? In both the best and worst ways. There was quite a bit of filler and, in my opinion, unnecessary parts, but I'm hopeful it's setting up something great for book 3. Overall, I had a great time reading it, but it definitely left me with more questions than answers. I thought that was a really good review.
Yes, it's pretty much what I feel as well about the book. There were like really good moments, or the moment where you are just like completely lost. Like, is this something that maybe it just setting the pace for the next book or what's going to happen? But yeah, maybe in book 3, then we're coming back to see Brimstone, and then we're going to think that, oh yeah, that now makes sense.
Yeah, I really hope so. I think sometimes the middle book in a series of 3, and I know that we're aiming for, or she's aiming for this series to be 5, but it'll be Ceres and Kingfisher's stories will only be 3. And the middle book is always really difficult. Just like the middle movie in a trilogy, it's really hard to bridge the real scene setting, the world building, and then the resolution. And sometimes I do think book 2 can feel a bit fillery. But then when you go back after having read the last one, you're like, that was all completely necessary. So, yeah. Okay. Shall we run through all of the theories that we had throughout our read through and the ones that could still be true? Obviously, we got quite a bit wrong. We also got quite a bit right. And there is quite a lot that is unresolved. So, yeah, let's just run through them.
Okay. You want to start?
Yeah. So the first one is a theory we've been carrying right from the very beginning. It's not been ruled out. And as we know, Kingfisher is still hiding some secrets. The Lupopraelia are wolves. So the book started with, in the prologue, Kingfisher saying to himself, there was safety to be found in a pack, but a wolf could survive alone too. There are so many references to wolves, obviously. I mean, they're called the Lupopraelia, lupo being Latin for wolf.
Yes.
Proelia being battle.
I mean, it makes sense because there's so many references about wolves, like you say, that maybe when they're celebrating, they start like howling as well, like wolves. And there's a couple of times that may make you think that maybe, yes, that is something that is really possible. I still not get it why it's not happening yet. If it's true, what they need to turn into wolf is if they can do it by will, or if they need like a full moon or something like this.
I don't think
like
they need
werewolves.
a full moon. I feel like it's probably not even all of them. I feel like maybe at the very least, it could be that the history of the Lupopraelia is that they were wolf shifters, and something happened. Like when there was a curse, they were cursed with the blood curse, and that got rid of the shifters. And maybe it will come back eventually, and maybe that's the history of it. It's just that very often when you have vampires in a story, you also have wolves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and like, let's face it, every single fantasy trope and the kitchen sink was thrown at this one. It just would really surprise me if we didn't see wolf shifters at some point.
I know that it makes total sense. The only thing that I say,
yeah, why not yet?
Why haven't happened yet? Because they've been in like situation that if maybe they need to get like strength from an animal, or they need to, you know, make something to like be helpful in the moment. That would be like the perfect time, but it's still not happening. But we don't know yet. Other of my previous theories, I think I said this right in the beginning of this season, was that I think that all the gods that we have seen they are connected for every single one of the fae, vampires, and witches. So I don't think that we're going to have a part of the 7 that we have for the fae. We're going to have another 7 for the vampires, or another 5 or 6 for the witches. I think it's the same ones, but they are split in groups. So we have maybe Sarath and the twins. They are like fae, and they're helping the fae kind. And maybe we're going to have another few. They're going to be more like helping the vampires or helping the witches. They have like a champion that's from the witches, or a champion that's from the vampires.
Yeah, I think that sounds pretty true, because you've got Styx, who is the
king of the dragons apparently now.
Yeah, and he rules Dyaxis. And then he had an emissary to the vampires.
Yes.
There was a part where Ishabel was really surprised and didn't really believe that the gods were real. So it makes me wonder what the witches... Okay, Carrion is going to save Fisher's life on a battlefield, and he will have to put on a dress and dance a fucking jig.
Still not happening by the end of Brimstone?
Yeah, it didn't happen. I think that's going to happen. I hope it is.
It could be just foreshadowing.
Yeah, this is right at the beginning of Brimstone, when they rescue Onyx and get back, and Carrion says to Lorith he saved his life. Carrion saved Kingfisher's life, and Kingfisher was like, the day that you save my life on a battlefield, I will put on a dress and dance fucking jig. It's got to happen.
Yeah, I don't see like Fisher doing this even when he said that he will do it. But I can see like Carrion, if he start to do like some kind of magic, he's able to like put an address to Fisher without...
I think even just reminding him would be funny.
Yeah. Other of my theories is the Onyx. It was protecting Everlane. And this could be because it's Edina inside there.
I love how you're claiming this as your theory when I have been convinced.
No, but I'm not saying the theory is that Edina is in the fox. And then one of the reasons could be is because it seems that he is protecting Evelyn when she is sleeping, and Onyx is just like sleeping on the feet. And so far, Onyx has done this just with Ceres. That maybe it's like protecting Ceres. But here, when all this happening, and then right in that moment is when Edina has this connection with the body and start to talk through Everlane's body. So it's really suspicious.
Yeah, there is so much evidence stacking up that Edina's soul is attached to the fox's soul. And like, I'm locking this in still. I'm dying on this hill. Like, this is the one that I will be so shocked if it is wrong. Firstly, you have in Quicksilver, the fox is there. It's like it knows it needs to be in the forge at that particular time to be with Ceres. Edina knows exactly where her soul needs to be. She has created this book, etc. The way that Onyx is in Ballard is just a bit familiar. He knows his way around. He like bounds up the stairs to the apartment. He knows where he's going. He's having the time of his life, like he is home, like he is back in his favorite place. Oh, so even in the Kingfisher POV chapters, you get the fox, you get Onyx in Edina's rooms it knows its way around those as well. You have the bit that you highlighted where Kingfisher hears Adina's voice. Yes. Suspicious that Onyx is in the room at the same time. Then there's this whole backstory about how you can attach your soul to a living creature to save its life. And then when you die, your spirit will be around. She has constantly talked about witnessing Kingfisher's life, Ceres's life, from beyond the veil, as though she is not able to move on. I just like Nimmer, and she was kind of in the same place as Morel, because Morel isn't able to move on either because she's attached her soul to a non-living thing, a god sword. It just all stacks up to me that Adina knew that she was going to need some kind of vessel to be with Ceres and to guide her. She chose the fox, or maybe the fox was dying and she saved its life.
Yes, and another thing that we had to have in consideration by the end, when Ceres is basically bringing back Onyx from the dead, the Hathrak said that is not possible. The other alchemists trying to do that. But Ceres said, well, maybe I can do it because it's something small. So it's something that she can actually do it. So maybe with that same principle, because it's something small and the soul of Adina is attached to the fox, that's why from time to time she can maybe, I don't know if I control the fox or just use it as a messenger as well.
I don't know if you'd be able to control them, because that would be super interesting.
Because how the fox knew when it has to go, when it went to Sanorath. And why? That's still my biggest question. Like, what was the point? All of that.
Yeah, because I would have been suspecting that the fox was taking the book, but there was no book mentioned, and foxes don't have pockets, so I don't think the fox.
There was no reason. Like, if that part it won't happen, nothing will change in the plot. So there's no like a specific reason for the fox go to see Ceres there.
Because the only thing that would have changed would be that Fisher hadn't used up all his healing magic, but we as the reader wouldn't have even known about the healing magic. So you take that part away, then you take away the knowledge of the healing it's completely weird.
Yeah.
Unless it's there just to show the lengths at which the fox would go to get to Ceres, and that's probably what it was. Definitely still locking in that theory. So many hints.
Yeah, I would be completely surprised if it's not a fae inside that little fox.
Yeah, I've seen other theories. There's a lot of talk that Onyx is just a familiar. You know, like how witches have familiars. I just don't see any other. I can't see past the fact that Onyx is housing Mummy Kingfisher's soul. I'll have egg on my face at the end of the next book when it turns out not to be true, but I just can't see that at the moment.
I was never meant to love a human. But then, I saw her. I wasn't supposed to touch that fruit, but I took it, and I ate it. I was the most loyal of angels, until I lost her. Now they call me the devil, and I'll burn heaven itself before I lose her again.
Memoirs of Luzbel, a dark fantasy novel. Book 1 of the Luzbel saga. Now available on Amazon.
Kingfisher has more small magics. This is where Adina says, "Never doubt your powers, sweet one. Each one of them is a gift. Each one of them will prove exactly enough when you have need of it." Did we see any more? Am I forgetting any?
No, so far I think that was the first moment that he used small magic. How is it called now? And we don't know what else could be there for him to do. Something that maybe he's able to do as well just once, and that's it.
The only thing that makes me so skeptical about this part is that it feels like if we don't have the rules up front, like we don't have the rules of how this works, it just feels like a tool that can be used to save anything. So you're like, again, it's lowering the stakes.
Like a wild card for plots.
Yeah, it is a bit of a wild card. And we don't understand the rules of it. So I love magic systems that are like really tight, and there's a rule for something, and there's a reason why it's there, and all of this stuff, and there's limitations, so there's a cost to using it. And we do see a lot of that in this book, and I love the alchemy side. The quicksilver, the brimstone is pretty cool. The way that the rot is spreading, and like all of that stuff is really cool. It's these little side things like the Hazrax's rune and the other runes and the small magics, the bits that are not really fully explained, that just makes it feel like, well, it's going to be fine then, because somebody's going to have a power that's going to save them.
Yeah, true. It's better when they give you maybe like all the answers, or they explain everything, all the rules, and then maybe something that you don't understand very well, and then you maybe come back and start to read them properly, like how the magic works, and they're like, oh, that's why. And then it's like, all tied.
Yeah. And I'm going to start dropping some hints now, but the next book that we're going to cover, the magic system is like 5 out of 5 locked tight.
Yes.
Like, it is so good. And we can talk a little bit later about that, but like, this is the type of magic system that you want.
Okay. My next theory, it's not that much like a theory because it's something that we saw there, but I think it will go deeper than that. And it's the Carrion. He was married and he has to see his wife getting old and die. And that's why he got broke with all of this. And then he started to just trying to, hide all the feeling with jokes, or like being like careless, or he doesn't care about anybody else. But it's because from that moment, he was just completely different. And I think there will come a time that we will see like more details about it.
I agree with you. I think it's heartbreaking, this part. And it actually, we get so much growth and depth to Carrion's character in this book. And I loved it. It's one of the standout bits.
Yeah, it was weird at the beginning because Carrion, it was just like being a pain and being just, I don't know, like useless, or he was just grumpy, or how, like always something to say.
I don't know if he was grumpy. I think he was being annoying, but like, he wasn't being useless because he was the one that noticed that the feeders' heads
were humans.
Yeah, and but nobody was taking him seriously. And I think it all comes down to that line that says, if at any point you underestimate me, that is your mistake. If you think I'm the Joker, then you're not worried about what I'm doing and what I'm thinking and what I'm plotting. And I think this is him growing and realizing that actually he needs to be more than that. And you can see that he definitely improves, because the way he fights at Innistar is another level, and obviously his powers come into their own with the plants, and I love it. We talked a bit about the plants, and seeing that he's going to be the king for regrowth. So when he takes over, you've got a whole land that's been overtaken by rot. Who better to lead and to give like the mammoth speech, like, and at the same time all the plants regrow. I get goosebumps thinking about that. I really hope that happens.
Yeah, that would be a really cool scene.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with Carrion, and I am convinced that he can read minds. There are a few throwaway lines, and after other books where this has been a big reveal, one of the main characters or somebody is able to read minds, I now am constantly suspicious of anyone in a fantasy series, whether they're able to read minds or not. And the lines that jumped out to me, he notices Ceres and Kingfisher are not listening, but he cuts off mid-sentence. He's like, are you two even listening? Oh, they're not listening. Like he's heard part of the conversation. There's then a bit on the cliffs at Innistar later where Ceres literally said, it's as though he read my mind, or as though he knew what I was thinking. And then there's maybe like 3 or 4 references to these things. I think that Carrion can not only regrow plants and flowers through his speech, I think he can also read minds.
Yes. And something that we know definitely in this world, there's people that actually can read the minds, like Algard, for example. She was able to read Sarah's thoughts. So it's not that crazy to think that maybe Karen, now that he's had more time and ability to like absorb the magic and start to connect with his roots, he start to develop all the magic from the family.
And possibly he has witch blood as well. That's something else that we suspect. His red hair is very similar to Ishabal's. The fact that the witches worked with the Dianthus line on finding a cure, was that because a witch married into the family? There's so much to learn about Carrion. I don't think we will get all of that in book 3, on the basis that Kelly Hart said when we saw her in Nottingham. She said that one of the 5 books is Carrion's. So I don't think we will learn everything there is to know about Carrion in book 3, but it might come in book 4.
I totally agree, and this link to my next theory as well, that I'm thinking that the powers of Carrion is going to be as good or even better than the one from Fisher. So we know already that he can do magic with the flowers, or I don't know if he can make magic because he talks and then the flowers start growing. So I don't think that this is it. There's just this power. So it could be, like you said, that maybe he can listen to the thoughts of the people. Fisher thinks that he might be able to control fire. That would be cool as well.
Seems like his dad could do that, doesn't it?
Yes. So if maybe it's something that, like Fisher said, that he controls the shadows because his father. So it's like something that he had like heritage. We don't know exactly which father he's talking about, but he said his father. So maybe, if the father of Carrion was able to control fire, then he might be able to do that too.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? This is another part of the magic system that I don't think is fully explained yet, where some Fae do have like blood right magic, birthright magic. Some don't appear to. Lorith does, but doesn't like using it. But that was an interesting part of the story, wasn't it? Because his family like taught him that wasn't what you were supposed to do. But if you get, and the way I think about this is like through Spanish surnames. You know how as a child of Spanish parents, you get the father's name and the mother's name.
Yes.
But in doing so, you lose the second part of your father's surname and the second part of your mother's surname. So there's always a part of the surname that's lost. Yeah. You only get one of them. So if you have magic from your both parents, so think about Edina, she could do prophecies, and she could also create illusions. His father could do shadows, and we don't know that he could do anything else. We don't have any evidence to say he could do anything else. But Fisher only gets the shadows, and he gets the illusions. Yeah. He doesn't get the prophecy thing.
Yeah, been an oracle.
Yeah, he doesn't get the oracle. So it could be that Carrion doesn't have fire at all because he got something else from his dad that nobody knew about, like mind reading. And he could have had the flowers from his mum, or it could just be that you develop a new power because it is something that you are going to need. Like, you know how in some magic systems you get like your power is something that you need. The other thing I was thinking is that Carrion's plant power might not even be a birthright power. We know there's a chunk of missing time from when Finran took baby Dianthus through the portal to Zilvarin. There's like about 600 years or something, isn't there?
Yeah.
Where he just didn't arrive in Zilvarin. Where was he? Which god was he hanging out with? Did one of the gods give him that magic? Because he knew he needed it, because of the rot. Maybe this is somebody else's plan.
Yes, there's still too many things that we don't know. Also, like the magic, we don't know if maybe it's possible. Like you said, yes, from your parents, you have maybe 2 powers from each, and one of them is gonna be for you. Is it always maybe like the main power, the one that is
The dominant
stronger?
one, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Or could be like genes.
Could
It
you
be
end up
anything.
getting 2 from your mum and none from your dad because they're recessive? Yeah, doesn't.
Yeah.
We don't know the
We
rules.
need more explanation for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So talking about people not dying in this book, I think for the next one, it will be the turn for Foley. You said that it will be Loreth. I think it will be Foley. He will sacrifice himself to defend Ceres. And for him, this will be like his biggest honor, dying as a wolf protecting his friend's mate.
Yeah. I like this one. I do worry that nobody will die, obviously. But I also, there's the big question of why Foley needed to be a vampire still, isn't there? Because Adina didn't want them to be, or said, do not take the potion. The question for me is, if Ceres takes the tonic or the cure, the blood, is she now then visible to the other gods? The whole point of her being half vampire, half fae was something never been seen before. She then wouldn't be able to be tracked or seen by the gods. What is that going to mean for her in Diaxis when Styx arrives? And is he going to be able to see her? Is he going to be totally shocked? Is he going to, like, what's this going to be the situation? Or is it, so she needed to be, I think the reason Adina didn't want her to take it was because of that. But we don't know why she didn't want Foley to take it. Do we need Foley to still be broody, like self-sacrifice, like self-loathing? Is there something about what being a vampire, the type of character that a self-loathing Foley would be?
I think it's more for skills as a vampire, or things that maybe he can do with his senses.
Extra strong?
I don't know. I'm still thinking that we'll see Malcolm coming back. Maybe Foley is going to be the one who's going to give the alarm, because he will be able to sense it or be able to like feel it or something. So I think might be one of the reasons is they need somebody that was fully connected to the vampires, because Sarah's, even when she's a vampire, she's still kind of like learning how to be a vampire.
I wonder if he's going to get like a limb chopped off or something. It might be something as basic as like he might lose a leg and it's fine because he can grow back.
Right, little one, yeah.
Yeah, and then once he's done that, then he can, you know, it might be something as basic as that, or it could be like something big like the Malcolm.
Yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see. Coming back to Carrion and another potential power. In Carrion's apartment, there were several drawings, and like to quote Kingfisher, drawings in the style similar to the way my mother had loved to sketch when I was a child. And that had me thinking he was an oracle.
Yes.
I am not convinced of this, because you'd think that he would be better informed about everything else.
I mean, Carrion says that all the pictures are coming from a book.
They're
that
copied.
Yes, so it wasn't from like his mind or a dream or anything like that. But was it?
The one that made me think it could be was seeing the Winter Palace with the Dianthus banners. Like, that could be from the past, but it could also equally be from the future. I just feel like he might have written or prepared for a better speech had he seen that he might have to make one to the satyrs in the village square. You'd think that if he would see something like that happen and be like, have something in his back pocket that was better than, my name is Carrion and I like your horns.
Maybe that's exactly what he needs to say. And now all the satyrs love him for that, for being so humble. And because they're really care about the horns. My next theory is something that I haven't seen in all these episodes. It's something new. And it's that I think Ceres will create the Tria Prima by herself. So we know there's like 3 kind of alchemists. They are the one who can manipulate metals, then the one that can heal, and then the one they're looking for like eternal life. So far we've seen 2 of these ones with Sarah's. And possibly we will see something where she will be able as well to give eternal life to people. So instead to turn into vampire, just make something, and then they turn into immortals. And this is exactly what they say, that they're pretty much like one of the most powerful things in the alchemist, and Cyrus is the more powerful alchemist. So I think it makes sense that she's going to be somebody that's going to have this power by herself.
I'm excited to see because for a book that's called Brimstone, we don't actually get the mastering of the brimstone, do we?
Yes.
That will hopefully come in the next one, but I think we'll obviously also see what the salt one can do. And I had a bit of a suspicion that might be to do with the water, the seawater. When I was re-listening to Brimstone this week as well, I was reminded that Taladeus could, as a fae, control most liquids. So it'll be interesting to see what role he can play in that as well. I wonder whether there's going to be this epic sea thing where the liquid is controlled, because he's just been like boiling people's blood. But it specifically says he could control all liquids apart from Quicksilver. Right, my next one, and I'll expand on this, is that I feel like we are going to have many more mated pairs. Not gods bonded, but mates, like soulmates. Evelyn and Ren, I think it's getting clearer that is the situation.
It seems that Ren is really into Evelyn, but at the beginning of Quicksilver, it doesn't look like that Evelyn is that interested on him.
She gets very flustered. She gets flustered around him. I think there is something.
Yeah, maybe she is just trying to be, I don't know, like the lady and not giving too much away that she really likes him as well, because he's a Fae warrior.
Maybe, but it wouldn't be weird for a princess to be married off to a general of an army.
Yeah, it has to be like, well, I don't even know if she's allowed to choose what she wants to marry.
Yeah,
maybe
but
it's Bellicons,
often,
right?
like in books, that does happen. You get like the general, a very high-ranking general, married off to a prince.
I mean, she has his balls, so that's always
we never
sign.
found out why. I still have this question. Why did Evelyn see Ren's balls?
Yes.
Was he just getting out of the shower? Was it a sleepover? Have they had intimate moments in the past?
Yeah.
Anyway, more. I feel like this is confirmed, but I've not seen or heard anyone talking about it. Taladeus and Zavina, I am still convinced that they were mates, because it would have had to have been such a strong bond to make Taladeus do what he did. Like, leave Evelyn at the altar, leave the Lupo Proelia, and go and join the vampires and condemn himself to an eternity of thirst and being a vampire, basically. And then she rejected him, and she still had such a hold over him even when she died, and he was expecting it to be worse. So he sat with her, but he felt nothing. And it's like as if, like, when she died, that bond
the
had
spell
gone.
was gone.
Yeah, something had gone. I also wonder whether Loreth and Isabel, or Loreth and another witch, and there's something that has gone on there.
Yes.
So yeah, I think we will see more mated pairs.
Yeah, I believe the same. Another of my theories is that the Hasrax, when we start to find out about all the powers that it has, it says that it can put one of the sounds out, and it can manipulate gravity as well. So I'm thinking that this has been put there for a reason, and considering that in the Silver City there's 2 suns, I think it will come a time that maybe in a year Sarah is going to ask to the Hasrak for some reason, they need to put one of the sons down.
Ugh. What are the gods?
Well, they are named as the gods. Doesn't mean there's going to be one, physically, one of them.
Yeah. I wonder if the story about how the suns split in two and there was like a terrible rift, I wonder if the Hazrax was the cause of that. We should have a look in the Greek mythology again about what that story was, see if there's a parallel to the Hazrax.
Yes.
I bloody love the Hazrax, so favourite character.
It's really interesting. Got to admit it.
Yes. So, going a bit more into this, I still think the Hazrax could be one of the fates. I just got those vibes at the end of chapter 42. There's also some references to the fates, like smiling at people. The fates must be smiling at me. The fates are smiling. The Hazrax smiles its terrifying smile. We get that all the time. It gives the magic as an apology for what is to come, like it is responsible. So it gives that rune to Ceres. What else could be responsible for what is to come other than a fate? It just has a really big mouth as well. I know it's tenuous, but it's older than the gods. The one thing against this theory is that it wasn't expecting the attack from Tal, which is maybe because the dark magic somehow blind spotted. It was like there's blind spots, isn't there, in Avelia, and I wonder whether there's something to do with that, in that the dark magic that Ishabal and Tal employed to do this somehow managed to slip past the fates. Yeah, I just feel like the Hazrax could be a fate.
Yeah, it's interesting about the black magic, but even if they couldn't see the black magic, they will be able to see that maybe in 10 years there's no more vampires. So they might know something happened to the vampires, they disappeared, but they don't know why.
But the fates is not just about knowing, it's controlling. So it's not even just the fact that it couldn't see it happening. It's the fact that it is not able to control that happening.
Yes.
So the dark magic would be this like curveball that completely messed with the fate's plans, which would be weird. But a fate is definitely more than an oracle. Fate is they pull the strings. The puppeteer, yeah.
Yes. It will be interesting. I still not getting what is the point for the Hazra just to stay there and watch. Why want to watch? Like maybe
watch its plans unfold.
So everything is just like entertainment for him. He's the director and he just want to be in the first row, like watching, witnessing.
Well, the other theory I had was that it could be death itself. And the reason it wants to observe Malcolm is because Malcolm has cheated death.
Yes.
And it wants to learn how that's happened and how to stop that happening again. And then again, Ceres is now immortal. It wants to observe, and it wants to know what a being does with immortality, whether it uses it for good or for bad, how to maybe stop again it happening to somebody else. So my two theories at the moment are it's a fate or it is death itself.
I'm not sure about death, because when Taladeus is supposed to die in that time with all the rest of the vampires was thanks to the Hazrax. The Ceres managed to rescue it as well.
They can undo it.
Yeah.
So doesn't that make it even seem like even more of a... I mean, it could be a fate because it is meddling in the fate of a being. Could also be death in that, like, it's not time for that person yet.
Yeah.
It's something that is able to control that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that is fate or death for me. I'm leaning fate, but I do love the idea that it's death as well.
Yeah. To be honest, whatever it is just awesome. I really like this character. Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. Okay. My next theory is something that we said already, but is that I generally believe that Carrion is half witch. One of the first clues is when they pointed out that he is basically the only ginger guy through all the Fae warriors. And the other one, who was a ginger one, was Isabel, and she is a witch.
Does that mean I'm a witch?
Yes. No easy way to say that, so straight away. Yes, because you have my heart.
Oh. I put a spell on you.
Yeah, I love potion, just with your charms. Yes.
Nice.
But also, the blood that his family carry is really special. And I wonder as well, because Isabel managed to have this cure for the vampires. And maybe it's because it has to be related to the witches and carry on family bloodline. Because they are witches or half witches. So that's something that's still there.
Yeah. Okay, I still think there's something about the tree in the courtyard outside the forge at Carlish. Yeah, I still think there's something to do with that tree. I think now even more so the fact that Kingfisher is descended from a god, or so he says. I believe he is, and I believe that tree in the courtyard at Carlish is key to it all.
Yes, that was like one of the first hints that we had about there was something special about Fisher family. We thought it was maybe the whole family. It might be. There's still like a possibility there's from, I don't know if a Finran has something to do with that, or it starts everything with Fisher, and he is a demigod about Finran, and the great-great-grandfather from Fisher that he doesn't like. There was the one who built Kalish. Is related to all of this. It's interesting to see that, because I still thinking that maybe the tree is just to explain the words gods, and Fisher family were from that family, and they were now the part of the forgotten gods. My next theory is something that we talk about it, and is the Fisher at some point when Sardis is trying to bring Onyx back to life, he says to the Hasra that Onyx is family. There's not just a fox.
Yeah, it's his mom.
Yes, it's another big clue that, yes, it's going to be literally, like, we are like nearly completely sure that it's Edina or somebody related to Fisher.
Yeah.
And other theory that I have is that Malcolm was the voice that was telling to Evelyn to run when she was having this nightmare. I was convinced since Quicksilver that he wasn't dead, even when you see that, yes, Sarah chop up the head and he just disappears. But I still think there's an explanation about it. And the first hint that Malcolm is still there is in this nightmare that Evelyn was having. Because, at least in the audiobook, that was the voice of Malcolm.
I know, but you never, but then...
It shouldn't be in the book when you're reading it. But
no, it shouldn't. But now we've got to the end. I suspect that it isn't at all. The reason we heard Malcolm's voice was because we were like, Anthony Palmini might know, because we thought that would be resolved by the end of the book. So I thought, it could be Malcolm, and he's put on the same voice. But I think that is just Anthony Palmini's creepy man voice. And... because now we know that Anthony Palmini has no idea who that voice was. So I can't see that being a clue anymore. It's just that because we were reading along each week, we didn't know that Anthony Palmini also didn't know who that voice was, because we thought it'd be resolved.
Yeah.
I think he's still alive, though. I wonder if he's in Diaxis. Thinking of other gods, and we have the demons. We had the scorpion demon. We had Mortil, the spider demon. I expect that Fisher will have to rid the universe of demon gods, which is why his mother prepared him for it. I wonder if it's actually collectively the demon gods that are causing the rot. And maybe getting rid of them will help. But he cannot get rid of the tiny scorpion, which means the scorpion will... Doesn't mean that somebody else can't, though. Somebody else could kill the tiny scorpion.
Well, not sure if in the way that he said that he won't kill it, it means that he won't kill it personally, or he won't do anything to kill it, even when he has to like hand it over to somebody else to kill it. So it will get against that, or there's
No,
like
I
a
think
loophole there. Or...
Yeah, I think he would have done it by now if it was that easy. But anyway, I think we will see more of the demon gods, and we suspected that they're like a praying mantis.
Yeah, there's gonna be like insects related. So gonna be another one like that.
Yeah. Well, so far they've been arachnids.
I don't know more arachnids, so it
No,
has to be.
I only just learnt that a scorpion was an arachnid. I just assumed it was an insect, like a crustacean. I honestly, genuinely thought it was a crustacean.
Really?
I know they don't live in the sea, but like,
Yeah.
I didn't know it was an arachnid. I didn't know they had 8 legs until our 9-year-old. Oh God, it makes me, it's really creepy. A 9-year-old wanted this monstrosity for Christmas. And this is when I learned that there was 8 legs. I learned that scorpion had 8 legs.
Actually, I think that this could be like a perfect representation of the demon.
Couldn't it?
Yeah, or Brimstone. And it's orange as well. Black and orange. There's like the perfect
Is it orange?
combination of the, I don't know, but it's how Brimstone is on the cover.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh God, it's gross. And it's like, that's kind of like Brimstone, isn't it?
Yes. I was thinking the same as well.
This is not very useful for those that are listening on to the podcast, but basically it is a terrifying plastic figure of a scorpion. We'll have to put an image on our stories. I'll have to take a photo. But it's a scorpion with like kind of how you'd describe Brimstone. So an orange, like fire vibe with cracked. They're kind of like lava cracked, but I'm doing a terrible explanation. Just check out the video. But yeah, it is terrifying, and I'm going to yeet it across the room because it is not what I want to be looking at now that I've got it. I'm going to yeet it.
Yep.
It's in the Christmas tree.
Okay, and after this class of biology, we're going to move on to my next theory. So this one is a new one as well that I have, and I think the Madra, after all the power that she's siphoning from the city, she's right now as powerful as a demigod. And also, I think that she can replicate the powers from the Fae, and this is including Fisher Shadows. So if you go into Quicksilver, the very first time that we see Madra, we see the Ceres is in a massive room that's completely dark, and she is locked there with Haran. And then from nowhere, Madra starts talking to her with a really deep voice the first time they start to talking, and then she just appears from the shadows or from the darkness. That's how Sarah described it. And then she started talking with a high pitch. And I think here in this moment it's clear that she can kind of like teletransport, or she can move on, not just between realms. She was moving in space as well, and maybe she was using shadows, like a shadow gate, like Fisher does. So that is something that I think we will see in the next book, that where they're going to find Madra, they're going to find out that she has the power of demigod.
Yeah, the way that this book has set Madra up to be the big bad ultimate villain is really cool. So yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah.
Going back to Algat, there was a moment where Ceres swore to buy Algat new gloves. And I'm really worried that that is going to come back and bite her on the bum. So I just think we really need to be worried about Algat as a witch, because she doesn't have to now take orders from Ceres. Can now rifle through her thoughts and memories and things without being worried that she's going to die because she has to obey her.
Yeah. I wonder if I will come a time that maybe because she promised that Algar can do something like just send them to get the gloves in a really critical moment, and then maybe she is bound to that promise, and then she has to go.
And she has no idea where these gloves are, if they are one-offs. Foley says, like, be really careful. And so Ceres is notoriously bad at making deals, and she swore that she would buy Algat new gloves.
Or maybe it's going to be like a really bad round that she has to go. And she shouldn't be there, but she has to just to get these gloves. Other of my theories, and I think I've been saying this since we started with Quicksilver, is that eventually we will see a community of Fae living in the third. So we have some people that are working for the Fae. So far we haven't found like a proper official Fae living in the third, like it was Carrion. So I think in the next book, once we start to see the travels between the realms, it's going to be something more easy now that we know there's a Quicksilver, and right there where Elroy is, then we will see that Morphe will start racing to battle Madra.
I think that having reread Quicksilver, I still think that the woman that owns the pub, the House of Carla, I think she's Fae because she's forgotten her name, and she says she's forgotten her name, and Carla means funeral in a long lost language of hers, which feels to me like everyone speaks common Fae in Zilvarin, so it's like old-fashioned Fae, ancient Fae, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe that she is Fae.
Yeah.
This one's a silly one. I thought that Fisher might eventually pay for the trout that he stole for Onyx from the Shag's head. I do think we'll go there. I do think he will settle his tab.
I don't know if we actually will see that. Maybe this happened already, but we didn't see that happen out of the page.
I don't think he had time.
Another one that I'm sure is not going to be one of your favorites, but I'm completely sure that is where this book is going, is that we will see that Dany and Carrion, they will end together. Yeah, so probably Dany's going to be the next queen.
The Queen of Avelia.
Yes.
Oh, no.
With Carrion.
Do me a
The righteous
favor.
king.
I know what you mean, but I don't like it one bit. Move on. Ceres will control the dragons with Brimstone. I still think this is true.
Yes.
I think it feels like it's being set up for Kingfisher to do a deal to get a dragon. Mm-hmm. Will he ride the dragon, or will he just convince the dragon to go and breathe brimstone all over the rot?
Yes.
Will they ride dragons? I don't know, but I still think that Ceres has to do something with the brimstone, and it's not just pass through a portal, is it?
Yes.
It's got to be something better than that.
Yes, I still don't know exactly how it's going to work with the brimstone being produced by a dragon. So it's going to be fine just with one dragon, if I did manage to get one dragon to to Ivelia, or has to be like all the dragons from this realm, and then Sarah has to just do something to bring out the brimstone. The dragons. Or the brimstone from this place. Coming back to the enemies to lovers, I think that Loreth and Ishapol, they are the ultimate enemies to lovers. So from the beginning, we've seen that between these two, they've been always like fighting. It's been not like easy way for these two to be together. But I think by the time when they were trying to find Fisher, I see like a change on Loreth, and he was trying to be like maybe not as an asshole as he has been, and that could be just right there the beginning or something.
Yeah, I said it earlier. They could end up being mates. I think the fact that Loreth knows her and he thinks that she should remember him, but she doesn't, is a bit suspicious for me. Okay, Salt. We've said this already. I think the next book will be called Salt.
Yes.
She can smell it in the ocean. I think there's going to be some big revelations about the salt, and it might be that we get to see the pirates that we've heard about. We get to go to Lycia. We get to go to the cave, the underground cave. We hear about in the Kingfisher POV chapter at the end of Brimstone, which goes back to a Quicksilver chapter when they first get like frisky in the tent, and he leaves the tent really abruptly because he's worried. Meets a water sprite. He gives him a note from Kingfisher's mum, and then goes off to work at college. That sprite is going to come back. And I feel like water's going to just be a huge part of the next book.
Yes.
We've had fire. We've had Quicksilver.
Yeah, so I don't know if what they're going to do. They're going to just set Ivelia on fire, trying to get rid of the rot, and then they need to control the water to turn it down.
And then Carrion needs to grow the plants.
Sounds like a plan right now.
Yeah. There we go. Nailed it.
Yes. Okay, next theory. I think they won't be able to kill Malcolm, Bellicon, and Madra. So they had to find a way to capture them and to put in a place where they can cause any harm and they can just stay there for eternity. I
love this. That's so good. You've not said this before.
No, I've been thinking this after because obviously it was at the end where Bellicon lost the head thanks to Kingfisher, but Fisher knew that he was coming back. So I thought, okay, so we know that Malcolm and Bellicon said already that if they want to kill them, they had to kill the three at the same time. And I started to see that, okay, the three together, they're going to be more powerful and more with Madra now. So maybe they don't need to kill them. They will need to maybe capture one by one and then make sure they're in a place where they can't escape. Maybe Bellicon will end one of these Dryads and those three.
Dryads.
Yes.
Maybe, but I have a different suspicion or theory about the Dryads. I think the Dryads will be set free in the next book, and I think they will be. I think there's going to be something to do with Carrion and his ability to like grow plants and stuff. I feel like the witches, they were bound by the witches, by dark magic. I think they're going to, and because the Dryads ultimately were good. Yeah. I think they're going to be freed. But yeah, I like this. I don't necessarily think that they will be trapped inside a Dryad, but I do think that Malcolm
maybe
Bellicon
different realm or something. One of the hells. Just say that, and that makes forever.
Yeah, a fate worse than death.
Yeah.
My next theory has possibly just been trumped by yours. I think if Bellicon were to be able to die, then it's got to be Carrion that would do it. Kingfisher said he won't die today. That was for another day. Oh, Sarah said something like that's for another day, another time, another hand, and that hand has got to be Carrion.
Yeah, it will make sense if it's Carrion the one who kills Bellicon because he's carrying the crown that belongs to Carrion. So it would be like justice. So I like that. And my last theory for this episode is that in the next book, we will see more members of the Lupo Proelia.
Coryx.
We still don't know what happened to him.
I was wrong about that. I was sure that Coryx is a dragon expert.
Yes.
And in a book with the dragons, like for me, the fact that Ren was a Knight of Erythian was weird for me. I was so expecting, even right till the last minute, that Coryx would be one of the Erythian Knights. Because we knew that the Erythian Knights were guarding the dragons.
Yeah.
We didn't know that it was actually a portal into another realm that had lots of dragons. We kind of suspected that they were in cages or something. But we did get it kind of semi-right, demi-right, like a demigod. But I just thought it was odd. And that whole bit felt a bit odd, like Ren in his white cape and he's like now very righteous and he's a knight. It felt really odd to me when I was sure that she was setting up Coryx to being that. But I don't think that, I think we will see Coryx.
Maybe we will find in this realm where we end with Cyrus and Fisher. There are dragons there. So maybe Coryx, it will be, I don't know if as a slave or as somebody that's there looking after the dragons, learning more. Like he look after the dragons and then he learn as well more about them.
Maybe.
Something. But that's my feeling. They will see more members of the Lupo Proelia coming for the big fight at the end of this series.
Yeah, maybe in each book we get a new one.
Yeah.
We got Foley in this one. And we will definitely revisit these when we get closer to the release of book 3. I am already so excited for the run up to 3. Just because I love the story and the characters. Like, yeah. This could be a long wait, though. So, in the meantime, how are we going to cope? Do you want me to tell you how we're going to cope?
Okay, tell me more.
We are going to be releasing the first episode of our next read-along next week in a spoiler-free Convince Me to Read format. So this next one will be a book that I have read once, only once. Definitely one of my favourite reads of 2025, if not my all-time favourite read. That is a big statement. We've loved this spoiler-free read along kind of format. So even though I have read the next book, we'll be sticking to that going forward. So we'll be reading a chunk of chapters each week. You won't have read them, so there'll be no way that I'm going to spoil it for you because I bloody love this book. Like, I haven't stopped talking about it. So for those of you that have actually had any conversation with me, you will be able to guess what this book is. It has been a really hard decision. So despite the fact that I love this book, because I've read so many great books this year, and I might do a bit of a rundown of all the books that I've read this year and how I feel about them. But I really hope that you trust us with the next recommendation. But we don't know what we're going to be doing after that book. And these new series are kind of like 6 episodes long. So we would love to hear what you'd like us to cover after the next one. Going forward, we are definitely not restricting ourselves to romantasy. We love fantasy of all subgenres, so send us all of your recommendations. And with that in mind, the subgenres in mind, we will have a bonus episode coming very soon, which will cover A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline L'Engle. Because if, like us, you have been absolutely obsessed with the final season of Stranger Things, then you can join us as we talk about the book. That was a huge inspiration for the series. That will just be a one-off episode, though, that will be releasing kind of alongside our next read-along. Stay tuned for next week, where we'll hope to convince you to read along with us. So until then, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Faithfully Fantasy Pod. Come and join the conversation. We would love to hear your thoughts about Brimstone and see your reactions when we announce the next book. So come and have a chat.
And with this, we have just one more thing to say. Thank you for listening to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things Brimstone.
We'll see you next week for a brand new season and, of course, for more Faithfully Fantasy.
Bye.